Yeah. Yeah. What's up, y'all? Y'all know what it is. Right back here, your UMOJA Health, Wellness, and Justice Collective. We at the center, baby. And you know what it's time for. It's time for conversations where you can. That's right, and to introduce folks to the show. We got A, Miss Angie Gould. We got B, Miss Beth Ivy Craig. Yo, let's go. Hey.
Welcome to AB Conversations, you guys. I am the B of AB Conversations. My name is Beth Ivy Craig, and also CEO and psychotherapist for Sister Soul Sessions. And we have the A.
I'm Angela Gould. Again, I am Beth's protege for today.
I'm Alice the Barber.
What up, world? She been here, brother, like no other. It's your man, Michael Hayes, Executive Director, UMOJA Health, Wellness, and Justice Collective. Also co-host with the Barber and the Funk of the Soul to Soul radio show.
And what we have today, what we're talking about today is we're going to spend some time with our young people who are here. And if you guys could introduce yourselves, that would be awesome before we go into our topic for the show. Sanai, I'd like to start with you.
Right. Hey, I'm Sanai. I'm 16. I attend AB Tech Early College. And yeah.
Gentlemen.
D'Angelo Collins. I am a part of GLM Investments. My daddy taught me that, and that's about it.
My name is Zion Walker. I'm 20 years old, and I'm a trading investor.
And my name is Tony Walker. I work for Go Green as a case manager, and I'm just honored here to be with my two wonderful sons. That's what's up.
And that's what's, we're here today to talk about generational and historical trauma. And we want to know from the young people what kind of trauma has impacted them and how has that trauma shaped them in their journey to where they are now. And so let's start with you, Sanai. Do you have any traumas that have impacted you as you have, made it to your 16 years that you can talk about?
All right. Well, I would say like 4 or 5 years old. My biological father left, and he went to start a new family, and so for the longest it was just me and my mom. And it was just us for the rest, honestly. It's up to my 16 years. I dealt with a lot of bullying from moving here from Atlanta to coming here. So I dealt with a lot of that, changing schools, doing all that, so, adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. As your mama, we need to have a talk. Okay.
See what this is?
Yeah. Okay, so, and with you guys, what are some of the things that you guys have experienced? I mean, because we have a unique situation right here because we have a dad that's here. Mm-hmm. And, so it'll be real interesting to hear what you guys' experience has been with
That's a great question. It's like a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to talk about, because when we're talking about historical and generational trauma, first we have to understand what trauma is and what it looks like. All right. So trauma are things that that happen in your life that are unexpected, that cause it's a direct impact it's a direct negative impact in your life. All right. So it could be, for me, a lot of trauma was domestic violence. A lot of trauma was sexual abuse. A lot of trauma was violence in the neighborhood, seeing somebody get their whole face and head blown off. A lot of trauma was relatives going to prison. So those are traumatic events that happened in my life that directly impacted how I grew up.
The other defense of it.
Okay, talk to me about it. Yeah.
Because I ain't gonna say I was a bully, but I know sometimes I could be that. I could be a bully sometimes. Because every time I was in school, I was popular. I was the man, so I took advantage of that. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I could hurt people with that, and I noticed that later on in life. I really.
Well, on the other side of that, what made you feel like you had to Like he say, hurt people. Were
I
you
was
feeling
mad. I
it?
was just I was just mad. Like I always was mad, but that's why I always was fighting and staying in trouble and stuff like that. I just was mad. And I guess that was just because without Pops, not having Pops around, you feel me?
Direct effect, huh?
Yeah.
That's deep.
Dad, what is it like hearing him say that?
It just made me think of my mistakes. It made me think of a trauma that I never dealt with, never knew nothing about. And and of course, it just make me feel proud that even how they felt, they still came out. They still, showed me that they was more resilient.
Take anything away from what Tony's gone through. I've been to prison as well. We deal with a lot of people in UMOJA that has been behind those bars. But when I look at generations before me, and we talk about epigenetics, we're talking about genetics, we're talking about things that are embedded in the genes. Tony, was your father there throughout your whole life?
As far as
As far as you can remember. So you had him growing up.
And then a lot of times he might have been present, but you know what I'm saying, not.
Not the way
Not
you
there.
needed
Yeah.
it.
He didn't show up the way you needed
because
him.
my dad had to work real hard, so he was always shut down when he come home and just asleep.
So that's the same thing as him. He's there,
Yeah.
but not there.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at just use his father, your father's father. Was he there, or did he do the same thing? Work all day to take care of the family, not be there, or did he go to prayer? Or was he just? Because I want to look at the whole epigenetics.
We talking
Exactly.
about the
My
foundation.
granddaddy was there, but my granddaddy was real violent. He was like an old school violent, like you know what I'm saying. Like he'd kind of cut his brothers up, and I remember stories my dad telling me that he up under the pile while his uncle and his dad fight, and they cutting each other with hawk bills. You know what I'm saying? So that probably traumatized my dad.
Yeah.
That was that juke joint.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're talking about historically how it passes down generation to generation. Those genes, and it's, man, I hate to say it, but as much as those we hate to admit it, but everything that happened before us has a direct impact on us.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. So, and we're gonna get to like the good parts, but I just want us to see how this actually starts to manifest itself. You know what I'm saying? And how it had a direct impact on you, that had a direct impact on them, that could possibly have a direct impact on their children unless there's a buffer. We stop it.
Right.
Breaking generational curses.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about generational trauma as well as generational resiliency. Because I heard what y'all said is your businesses, your traders and investors. Come on, man. What?
Yeah.
And you what, 19 and 20?
Yeah.
20, we both 20.
Both
Yeah.
20, and they traders and investors. So
Yeah.
it didn't stop the success, but it had an opportunity to. But you had buffers. You had Coach. You had Keenan.
But it wasn't. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
It wasn't all nitty and gritty though. You feel me?
Mhm.
Because I did fall down the path too. I was selling.
Yeah.
I was selling weed. I was gang banging. I did have a hold on my back. So that I can't say like I did jump. I was down that path, but I still was focused. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
of course I was selling weed, but I really did that so the ones under me wouldn't.
Mhm.
You feel me? So I just took it upon myself. So I'm gonna take the initiative. I got it. I got y'all. Y'all ain't gotta worry about nothing. We just gonna hold. We got it.
Right.
Y'all don't even gotta sell nothing. Y'all go to school, do that there. We got it.
Isn't that something, how that goes back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago? About how he had to step in and be the man? And-
Oh
and-
man, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
The pressure that came with that, so you felt like you had to step up in order to take care of the ones up under you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really more so like saving them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cause I rather sacrifice me just one rather than all of it. You feel me? Cause I know I got the influence to make sure y'all don't even think about it. You feel me? And
Right.
of course I had y'all beat up so people we can fight all day long. We can beat people up all day. We can terrorize, but y'all ain't gonna get that far. I handle that part. You feel
Right.
me?
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like that was me taking it on.
That's what's up.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
I know something that was real big for me was at 13, my mother told me I was the man of the house.
We were talking about that.
Don't
Yeah.
cap.
That's
So
been
when my little sister was
born.
born,
So, you know what I mean? My brother was 16, Mother's Day. He shoots a dude in the middle in broad daylight in the head. Kill him on his way to prison. So me and my brother, we got this little business going. It's illegal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Coke, crack. We got this going.
You from Asheville?
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem.
So we got this thing going. So now my brother gone. My older sister in college talking about she gotta come home because she can't pay for a book. My mama crying. Sister talking about she hungry. My mama tell me you the man of the house. So I take it on a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every bump, every bruise, I take it on the back. It's nothing. So when my mama found out what I was doing, she didn't have the means to provide for us working at Taco Bell and going to school. She didn't have the means to take care of us, but I'm taking whoopings because I'm in the project trying to make sure we good.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's
As this after you being called the man of the house. I'm sorry, go ahead.
but this is the thing about it. We have to be careful. We won't, especially having, I got 3 boys. So I was always real careful with them, what I told them and what their roles were in society, in the home,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
There's none above me but God in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the alpha. You step over that, then we got another issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I never told them they were the man of the house, even when I was gone working 2 jobs, leaving one job, going to another, coming home, going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to help mama, make sure mama is good. You're not the man of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, so you don't ever get that twisted that you're the man of the house.
Right.
That's my job. So we gotta be, again, we just gotta be cognizant of what we tell our young men.
Yeah.
So
That's what we talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you for
That's
that.
the conversation we
Oh, yeah.
just had, because after being a barber,
all that on their mind and having to worry about this and that, you know.
yeah, and
it's
sadly,
too much.
what happens with that is eventually, by being that responsible for so long, a young man will get in his 40s or 50s and have a childhood flashback
Mhm.
and go to doing things the kids do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he has responsibilities, other responsibilities, it is something that it has to play itself out,
Yeah.
sadly. And people wind up getting hurt behind that.
And that comes from the emotional, because between the ages of, they tell you about adolescence.
Yeah.
You're going through puberty, you're going through all these emotional changes, hormones everywhere. And I'm just saying from my point of view, because it was something that I could not grasp a hold of. I just knew I had to keep bringing this money in, or else we was going to starve and we
Yeah.
weren't going to have nowhere to stay. All the while, I'm still trying to figure out, who am I as a young man?
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's what happens. We lose identity. But that's even when we talk about like women having their sons become men in the house, that's still a trauma response.
Yeah.
You know, that's been going on for years, but that's a trauma response. Okay, he's gone. Okay, I'm gonna compare it to this. You have some mothers that would say, okay, you step up, you're the man of the house. And then you have some mothers say to the other children, you look just like just like your damn daddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it's 2 ends of the spectrum, but both of them are traumatizing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So now, so we got the men's point of view, you know, growing up without their father being present.
How
Um,
is it?
Yeah, thank you.
I know when I was younger, I remember this one time, it was maybe 2-3 years after we moved down here, and I was just like really upset, and I was like thinking about it, cause you know, any memory that traumatizes you, it stays in your head.
Yes.
It's
It
not,
stays in your body.
it's not
Mhm.
leaving. And it comes out in any form that it feels like it needs to come out. And
Yeah.
mine was crying, busting down in a car with my mom, asking the question, did he leave because of me?
No.
Like, was I the reason? And I remember that look that she gave me. She said, don't you ever say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will never be the reason that he chose to leave. So I just know up until that point, I was really on edge about certain things and seeing people's families and how they interact with 2 parents. And I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
But then she told me that, and well, I've been straight up since.
That's what's up. Hey, look, and I bet I know you. You know, I know you facilitate more so than but okay. So what? No, 'cause I know. So the trauma of him leaving.
Uh-huh.
This is not to get like deep into what happened.
Okay. I'll be transparent.
Okay, so how did that manifest itself into how you raised Sanaya? And how did it manifest itself in you?
Because I didn't have a dad.
Oh, here we go.
Because I had a father who was raising his family. So, somewhere else. And, the only time I saw my dad was when I went up on a block when he was selling Bolita to get that $50 bill to go to the bootery to buy some shoes.
Come on, the bootery. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Back in the day.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, I used to go up on the block. My mom used to take me up on the block every 2-3 months to get a $50 bill off of a stack of paper he had like this, selling them numbers, man. So, I didn't have a dad myself. I knew he was around, from what I can understand, he would bring turkeys to the house every Thanksgiving, so that made him acceptable. So there's trauma even in that, in accepting the substandard.
Come on. Come on.
So for Sanaa, I always imagined that my children, I would be with my children's fathers. I have two. I have a son who's turning 30 this year.
Okay.
And then I have Sanaa. So my first marriage to my son's father, I really thought we were going to be together. We were young, just kicking it, what we thought we were in love. That didn't work out. And so, but fortunately for my son, his father was an active participant.
Okay.
So even though he couldn't provide monetarily, and I was on that ass,
Right.
he provided time. Made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So, it was just me in that situation, just fussing just to fuss, because I, just being a baby mama, I guess, a young baby mama. Now, when it comes to Sanaa's dad, it was to the point when she was 6 when we got back together. And when he decided that he wanted to leave, for me, it was like, okay, because to really be honest, I allowed him to come back in for those 3-4 months for her. It wasn't for me.
Right.
It wasn't for me.
Right.
So I kind of had to suck it up that he was there for her. But then he showed and he proved that he wasn't able to handle the responsibility of being in a household with me as his lady and as her father. So we made a decision. It was pretty much a mutual decision for him to go ahead and go. And I remember when he wasn't really engaged with her while he was there. And when he left, I remember we were sitting on the top of the steps inside of the house, and she was sitting to my right, and I was just like, Sanaa, what's up? She was 6. Like, Sanaa, what's up? How you feeling? He's gone. I don't know when the next time you'll see him, but this is what it is. How you feeling? She was like, Mommy, I didn't like him. He was mean. I said, well, bet. That's what it is then. What you want to eat?
But I think along with that though, like just going back to traumas, like after all of that had surpassed or whatever, and we moved here, and I saw that you were still in contact with Devin's dad and not like in mine, well, that I didn't see. I think that also traumatized me because I'm just like, well, why can't she have a relationship with his dad and not mine? And why can it be so cool that we go up there and visit his dad, stay in his house, be with my brother, his brother, and everything else, but I can't even get like a phone.
I'm bringing that to the table to make it better. It start feeling like that, and it just be those curses, that generation curses that you deal with, and then by me being in tune with the Lord, I also understand that it's a evil spirit and it's a godly spirit. And sometimes if you ain't in tune with the Lord like you need to be, the devil's influence will have you so in tune with the influence of just
My father, myself, my sons, all of us have had children and significant others, but we all felt the need to be separate from, because that shame jumped in. Okay, maybe they'll be better off. For me, for my father, the same thing. Maybe they'll be better off without me. For me, it was like, okay, I'm into drugs, I'm drinking, I'm in and out of prison. The shame of that. So when that shame hits, it's like it's a whole different type of trauma, and the joke from that shame has us going angry at everybody, angry at ourselves. Man, I ain't shit. I ain't worth nothing. So we go through this and we go through that, and then and you gotta understand this is generational. It's genetic. So we end up passing it down. They don't even know it's getting passed down. But you know, we hit the streets, same way as daddy did. You know what I'm saying? Where did that come from? Hustler's mentality, but it's a genetic thing. So when talking about black men having the opportunity to be, remember, before we got here, we were tribal people. They made sure after they kidnapped us and enslaved us that we were separated from who first? Our families, our wives, our children, and we gonna break this nigga. Okay, that was the whole mentality. We gonna break him. And how did you break? How was you breaking a man? By taking him from what he created, from taking him away from what he was given and what he created. So after that, after the separation kept happening, then we had to learn. Right now we live in somebody else. We ain't even living our own culture right now.
Because my whole thing is, what's the definition of a man?
Damn. So how?
What is relative?
Here's my thing. The thing is, with men act according to the situation. So what I guess what I'm getting to, your choices are based on where you are, where your stability is. So we constantly focus on young people and the choices that they make. But the one thing we fail to ask ourselves as parents, as adults, where is their stability? Because they say, because Pops wasn't there, they felt like they had to go do what they did. You understand what I'm saying? Their stability changed. So when you change the playing field, you got to change the way you play. So when my area and field changed, all I knew what to do was to pitch. I was too young to get a job. JTPA, that was only every summer. That was fine, a couple $1,000s for what? My sister needs school clothes. My big sister needs books, and my brother needs money on his books. I can't do this. This is fine. This $625 a week if I just take care of the house. That's fine. But what about everything else? So and that's just something that I've come to grips with. When your stability change, you still got to figure out how to make good choices, especially as a man. Because when you got boys and they watching you, I know my sons, when stuff come up, my sons sit there like this and look at me like, what daddy gonna do?
What you gonna do? Yeah.
I don't see him get mad. I know he get upset. He keep a level head. What is daddy gonna do now? But I know if I make the wrong decision, their stability gonna change. Therefore, their mannerisms gonna change, their actions gonna change, how they speak gonna change. Everything is gonna change about that. So I gotta keep that stability on the even and kill as much as I possibly can if I want them to be who I've raised them to be. And when you come from an area like I'm like you, my father's vice was the bottle. I'm 10 years old. I find him sleeping in the field, beat up and robbed, taking my sister to the bus stop. So I had to take him home, watch him for 2 hours, make sure he don't choke on his own vomit, then catch a city bus to go get a 5th grade education. See, when people put you in unstable situations, your choices change. So when I seen where he was going, that's when me and bro got together. Listen, man. Bro said, I got this connect. We're going to hit this like this, and we're going to do this like this, and if we work it like this, we won't get busted. Any charges, I'm going to take it, and you're going to take care of the family. So this is a 15 and a 12-year-old boy sitting down having these type of conversations. Should no teenager have them. You ought to be, Dylan, you ought to be trying to figure out what's the next, when is the next middle school party happening? When is this is what you ought to
see. Make the basketball team.
I never went to many of those.
Wow.
Beep, beep, beep. Gotta go. Cause I knew if I miss this play, it ain't gonna no telling how it's gonna fall back on me. You know what I'm saying? In later times. Can't go to the government.
So it's safe to say that a part of what you think a man is, and what you think a man is.
At a certain age, it's time for them to stop being up on the mama so much. Come on, you coming with daddy. Daddy got to show you something. Well, when all you're around is mama, 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 you pick up them feminine ways. Some of them become homosexuals. It go a whole lot of different ways because, again, they never had the chance to deal with them emotions and figure out who they are. So the next wave that come along, that's what they grab a hold of.
But it can also be another mom can also provide them, if mom is available, that emotional support that they're going to need to carry them through stage of.
All right.
Right.
I see where you saying like the stability, because I lived in Atlanta for a long time, and it was times I could have did whatever, did a whole lot of wild stuff, but in my mind, I always heard my dad saying, you know what I'm saying, if you ever need to come home, you can come home. Don't feel like you gotta do whatever, be with whoever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that stuck with me when I felt like I was veering, you know. My dad, you know, don't do it.
So what,
You
so
always
in
do.
your experience, what is your definition of a man? Because you had a dad in a two-parent home.
Good question.
Well, in my experience, my dad was a provider. He was there. He was a listener. He could cook. But he listened. You know what I'm saying? And he always was, he wasn't always there because of the way he worked, but he always called. We always could get in touch with him. So he was there.
You were
Even
blessed.
though he was.
Yeah,
in many ways.
even though he wasn't all the time, he was there.
Yeah, you were blessed.
And he was a good man, he was a good person, you know, so.
And then, you know, we're talking about, okay, we got some fatherless children here. Now we're talking about mamas who gotta carry the load. You know, for me, shit, I ain't give a damn.
Right.
I'll carry load, I'll carry your load, your load, your load.
That's how my mom's is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it didn't make me no difference. It's just like being in that situation, a survival skill, trauma response.
Yeah.
You do what you gotta do.
Mhm.
And
You know.
genetically that passed on to me because now I'm like, well, people shouldn't know like that vulnerable stuff about me. Now, compared to my mom, like she's more of an introvert and I'm the extrovert, but like genetically, I want to make sure everybody else is happy, make sure everybody else is good, make sure everybody else is provided for before they ask me, well, so now do you need anything? I'm not expecting that back. I don't want that back. Just want to make sure y'all are good, so then I can be good, and I can be good physically so that you see I'm good. Mentally, maybe I'm not here, but
Right.
physically, I put on that persona, that facade, like I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Ooh, she said the facade.
See,
Keep
that's
it real.
Yeah.
That's the thing about a lot of people, especially mothers. They tend to everybody else and don't tend to themselves. I took that from my mother. Cause see, in my mind, I'm thinking, if they got food, if they got clothes, if they got everything they need, then I can tend to myself. Well, that didn't work so well because I ended up having to call my brother because I had a breakdown. I folded. I popped. Simple situation with my child. I couldn't handle a lot better. I popped. Said things I shouldn't have never said to him. Broke his heart. You know what I'm saying? So had I been putting that same energy or just a little bit of that energy I was putting in myself, like a lot of moms do. They don't put that energy back into themselves to go heal and get right. So then they end up on the bad part of the spectrum with their children.
Yeah. They take all that anger and frustration out on their children.
Something simple, you like, you just
Oh, yeah.
rage out like that. And you can't.
We expect, and we give this to our young black girls at a very early age. The expectation that you can take anything, you can handle this. You're strong. You gotta be strong. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying if you are constantly told that, you know, you're resilient, that you know,
You'll eventually break
you'll
down.
eventually, and not only that, it's like, okay, so if I gotta be strong, and I don't know if this was your situation now, so I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna ask y'all too. Was there ever a time when your father was gone that you saw your mother fold under pressure?
When it came to her dealing with other men,
Okay.
that's when I saw, I don't know if it was that the relationship didn't work out or if it was a feeling of being rejected because her dad died when she was younger, when she
Come
needed
on.
him the most.
Come on.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So when I did see my mother, I saw my mother cry one time behind
Just-
a dude.
Okay.
And that broke me down.
How many other times have you seen her cry though?
Never.
Okay,
I
fellas,
just-
how many times have you seen your mother cry?
That's something my mom really didn't probably show me. Like,
Yeah.
I know she probably did, but like,
She didn't let you see
yeah,
it.
she ain't put
She
it.
let you
She
see
don't
it.
show it.
Low?
If my mom was crying, it was because
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
So that's why I don't like now. That's why a lot of things that I did do, I didn't try to necessarily hide from my mama, but I necessarily like I ain't gonna show her like that's me.
Right,
So
right.
that's why I did. I mean, I did have like my stepdad was there, which is my sister's dad. He was there, but then like they broke up. But I basically was my granddad. I was my granddad 24/7. So that's who really raised me. So that's why I was in the hood all the time. So my mama, I was a knucklehead in school in that and third, but like outside of that in the streets and this and that and third, my mama still don't know half the stuff.
Okay.
Because I don't even want them to go through that.
Yeah,
So,
that's understandable.
so it's like, but it took for like me to get shot to really like realize like, oh man, I got a lot of, it ain't just me. Like I got a lot of people that's looking out for me. Like I got a lot of influence, this, that, and the third. So it's like I gotta switch it up. This can't be me. This ain't me. So I gotta change.
I want to go back to that time period, if you don't mind, Beth.
Please.
But I want to ask your daughter though.
Okay.
Have you seen your mother break down? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I've seen her like break. I wouldn't say break down. I would say she's had a few tears drop before, but I know she's only had one breakdown that I know of that she did in front of me, and I'll tell you, it's nothing in the world will hurt you more than seeing your mom's tears on your shirt. Like you see those tears on your shirt and you're like, this is serious. Like this is real life. And that's the thing that really broke me and really like flipped everything. And so after that, I was just like, all right, well, what do we have to do? What's going on?
Yeah.
And so that's when I think that vulnerability started unraveling, because now she started talking to me about stuff, and I started talking to her about everything that we were feeling in a more safe and vulnerable space.
Yes,
And so now
yes,
we're
yes.
talking about stuff we was keeping in our heads, writing in journals, and now we're each other's journal, and we can cry together, and now I can be her, well, it's okay, what's our next step? And she can be mine, well, are you going to write down your next step? What's going on? So I think it was just like that strong suit that we had on, and we let that go, and it was like,
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It's deep.
Because when you look at first, men are taught from a very early age playing sports. Y'all play football or something, and when you got hit, you start crying when they tell you.
Don't you
You
cry,
supposed to cry.
you ain't supposed to.
Boys don't cry. You playing football, you don't cry. So
Which is
we're taught
nice.
early to suppress our feelings,
That's not-
and then black women have to be strong in front of their children so they won't cry. But then we just saw that when you do show the vulnerability, that connection happens. So when we look at children growing up with the whole mentality of like, men don't cry, women don't show the emotions, what kind of children are we raising?
Unstable.
That's when it comes to like toxic masculinity.
Woo, come on, talk to me.
Yes.
Talk to me.
That's good right there.
Like,
Yes, sir.
like
Toxic femininity too.
yeah, like they always be telling you like you're a little boy, like you're a little girl if you cry, if you show your emotions. And they're like, man, don't cry, this, that, and third. And it make you seem like you gotta be mad at the world, like you gotta be harder than yourself.
Yes.
You gotta put a whole nother mask on.
No, you don't.
And you already, and it's already when you black, you already gotta walk out the door with another mask on. So if you just put masks on masks, it's like who are you?
Ooh, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
You said
You all the way real.
that was one benefit for me, being around my grandparents like I was.
Definitely.
My grandfather was an alcoholic, but my grandfather was very loving. He was a very hard worker. He was a functioning alcoholic. My daddy was a fall down alcoholic. It was a big difference. And anything my grandfather said, he did. I don't care what he had to break, what hurdles he had to come over, he did it. So I spent a lot of time with him. But one thing I know a lot of people don't do with their children now that I adapted from my grandparents is I validate my children.
That's so important.
They
That
do
is so
something right,
important.
that's smart.
Yep.
I reward them for what's right.
Yes.
I go in my pocket, pull everything out here. Y'all split that, go do something. You understand what I'm saying? When they do something wrong, sorry, I don't care nothing about the government. I put my hand to their backside. Period, point blank. It just go that way.
Yes, sir.
Because the thing of it is, being a football coach and stuff like that, I used to hear all the time, You not my mama. You not my daddy. And the crazy thing to me, they call me sir, but when their mama called them what? See,
Yeah.
we have. That's what I
Respect
mean.
level. Yeah.
That we have to start to validate children and that they understand their roles at whatever age they're in.
Yeah, Barbara used to have to educate mothers all the time. Cause his kids would talk to their mamas crazy and they'd be like, oh, no,
Yeah.
wait. While you here, you are not gonna disrespect your mother in front of me. Now what she let you do when y'all walk out this door,
Yeah.
that's between you and her. And I would pull the mothers to the side. It's like, if you don't show them respect and make them respect you, they getting ready to go out in this world as young black men. The world getting ready to beat their ass.
Yeah.
She's talking about she was doing that when she used to be a barber. She still be doing that.
Honestly, I
And she be here with my boys.
I heard.
You know what I'm saying? I know it.
I hear young boys because of that. You the man in the house. I hear they call their mama bitches.
Oh.
Yep.
Wait a minute. A
And
bitch
put
is
your
a
hands
dog.
on
What do you talk? That's your mama.
Right.
See,
That
this
power.
this is where we got to, and I think we as adults, and I'm learning this. I learned this as an adult. We conflict and confuse our own children
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
because they get crossed up.
Yeah.
When my mama told me I'm the man, I seen my daddy cuss at my mama,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna do the same thing to my.
That's
See, cycles. A lot of things aren't genetic or hereditary.
It's
A lot of it is
Learn
learned.
behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nurture of
the thing about it is when
Yeah.
you, it's not about putting on a mask or putting on airs. When you're in a certain environment, you teach your children as a man or woman how to act in different environments.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
If you don't, I mean, cause it used to bug me out. Coach, sir, Mister, Mama called. I said I was coming.
Yeah.
Who you talking
Looking
to?
Yeah.
Right.
And if I hear it again, you gonna turn on your equipment, and that's it.
Yeah.
You won't come back on here on my field if you think I'm playing. The mamas. Well, I'll go to the coordinator. I'm defending you.
Yeah.
And you just gonna
Yeah.
crap on me
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That's how you do. That's what we doing.
That proves that she's trying to be his friend, not his mom.
So this what I did. I said, I tell you what, when I kick your mama, when I kick you off this field, your son off this field, you going with him. I don't want to see you back out here. Because that's the thing. People don't understand the Bible says a little leaveneth the whole bunch. I had 42 children. If I allow one to misbehave with a parent or anybody else, ain't no practice gonna happen. I got kids exercising the whole practice.
Yeah.
What we gonna do in the game? They gonna learn. They gonna know how to run 7 and 7s, and they gonna know how to run the field.
Yeah, and do push-ups.
But when I call a play, everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
So if you don't start, and my whole thing is saying that if you don't start to set a standard, if we don't start to start, because it's not just on the parents.
No, it's the whole community.
It's a village. So if we don't start to set a standard for our young black people, because we all know how everybody else feel about them, but if we don't start to set that standard for our young black people, and we don't get better as adults ourselves, we will always operate in dysfunction.
Yeah.
As that trauma gotten you to where you are today? Where does that trauma show up today with where you are today? How you dealing with it? Because you're aware of it, obviously.
Yeah,
You just
you're
talked
very
about it.
intelligent. The three of you are very intelligent
Yeah.
young people.
So
how
let
is it-
Zion answer that one, because the very thing, I can just say for baseball, that's how I dealt with my trauma. And so baseball was a resource. And I ended up being all-conference baseball player because that's what I was running to. And so when I wasn't on the field, I was around those guys. And so it was I was wanting to be around them regardless of what I was learning. And so I learned a lot of stuff, but then I wasn't seeing when they was going to prison, the community was hiding it.
Yeah.
And so we throw them a party when they come back. So it's like, yo, he moved, he went to
Right.
school, and he come back. Nah, he been doing time. So they went preparing us like, okay, when you go do time, you mess the whole family up. Because now you got brothers and cousins.
Right.
So if you go in beefing with somebody, the whole family beefing and don't know the story.
Right.
And it might have been something too simple.
Okay.
Is I was telling y'all the other day, it's okay to be smart and do good things.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, you know, oh, they corny cause no. It's
It
cool
ain't
to be
even-
smart.
It ain't even a part of being okay with being smart. It's okay with being true to you.
Yeah,
Like,
too, yeah.
like being smart, like that's just who you is. Like that's just who you are. Like people try to hide that and try to like make it seem like it ain't what it really is. Like it's okay to really be fruitful. Like put it out there. Like let everybody feel you. Like they gonna respect you. They gonna have something to say regardless. So they gonna respect you when you put it out there on the front page and it's success and it's progress. You feel me? So whatever it is that you chasing, whatever it is that you want to do, if you hesitate about it, jump forward out there and do it. Cause it's definitely gonna happen.
And one thing that I can really say about this generation as relates to our generation, y'all got nerve. Y'all are not scared. They not scared.
Well, they've
You know.
seen so much, and
Yeah,
there's nothing
that's
hidden
what we grew
anymore
up so
between
fast.
media and the way the
And
world
social
runs.
media.
Yeah.
They
That's the lie.
they have watched the crackhead parents and the grandparents and the alcohol. They've seen that, so they've experienced it firsthand. So they know what that looks like. So it's not like secrets. It's like no, it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, your mama that crackhead,
Yeah.
or your daddy is that crackhead, and everybody knows it. But what I love about this generation, they don't shame each other for that because they know, damn, you know, they feel bad for each other.
Or you just know, it's like I done been through the same thing, or your story can be worse than mine. Like everybody know that. So it's just like we all
We all in
really,
the same
yeah,
boat
we all in
together.
this together. We
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
we gonna get on this field together and we gonna fight together. We gonna get there. We
How
gonna
has
score.
how has your trauma served you?
Alright, so like basically like first when my pops had like went to jail, like first thing like that made me think like why he go to jail, and like that kind of trickled down to like money, like he was basically making money selling drugs, whatever. So that made me think like dang, like that how I'm gonna have to end up making money. So then like as I grow up, I like started seeing like different things, you know, like I actually wanted to be in the NBA. So like so I decided to go on try to play basketball or whatever. But then like as I got older, I started to understand like some of the things that my dad probably experienced growing up being a teenager. I'm probably experiencing some of the same things.
Come on.
So like like when he first got out, like we ain't really connect like that. It took some time, honestly. Cause like really like I had to kind of understand like where he was. So as I kind of got older, like now, like when I think about it, like if I was in his situation, that's where I put myself in his shoes. So like if I was in his situation, I probably would have did the same stuff to provide for my kids, make sure everybody's straight. So like really the difference that I see like between me and my pops was kind of like a level of education, like learning about like what you really can be like. So like being able to be like my brother was saying, true to yourself. Like it's okay to be smart because that's you. Like you can make that a part of you. So really, it's like
seeing that different path that you witnessing how he made money and seeing growing up there's different ways to make money. How did you what path did you take and how did you make that into a different money making business?
so really like I feel like my work ethic kind of came from my mom's. Cause like that's who I seen working. She was like doing everything, making sure the house straight. And really, I wanted to touch on the subject when you was talking about like how your relationship with your mom is like. Cause my mom was doing all the working and stuff. Like we ain't really had that type of relationship. Cause like it's either I'm at school all day, and when I come home, she probably about to go to another shift or something. So like really, it was just like sometimes it was like me and my sister, or like sometimes I'd be sleeping. I probably wouldn't even get to see my mom in that whole day.
Wow.
To the next morning or something. So yeah, and basically like overcoming that trauma. I mean, it made me just work hard for like anything I can do because I feel like shit. If I can think it, then you can do it.
Yes,
Come on.
yes, yes.
That's right. Manifest that thing. Yeah.
It's like it really take you to keep a level head, and that's like tough to do. Like being black, like coming from like middle to low class, like it's hard to stay focused, and that's like what happens to a lot of people. Honestly, like once you lose that focus, then you can get lost somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's lost in that them generational curses, you can stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like y'all discussing about different types of generational curses. That's education. So if I understand my generational curses, what you think I can actually break those?
Yes, yes, yes. That's
Well said, sir.
goal,
That's
right?
the goal.
Well said.
That's the goal.
It starts here, talking about
Yes.
it, bringing it up.
And, you know, it's like it's almost like the roles switch. You know, like
Is you crying
know.
over that, boo?
I know that I'm their dad, but it's like they're my dad
Oh.
because I learned from them.
And
Because
that's
like
okay.
for some reason I'm a perfectionist and I hate to be wrong, but then when I found out my life, I was living my whole life wrong. It made me want to do the right thing. So, you know, a lot of times I want to give up. But when I talk to my sons, let's see them.
Don't give up.
Hey, look, I want to say this real quick. This is the definition of breaking generational
This
curse.
is a man.
That's
This is a
what men
man.
do right there.
This is a man.
That's what men do. Validating his sons,
Yes.
showing these
That's what
emotions. They
real
scared to
men do.
show it. That's what man.
That's what real men do.
You can sit my
So
broke
proud.
black ass down.
So proud.
This
That's
is what
what's
real
up.
men
So
do.
proud.
Father to father, I've been there. Trust me. And the best thing you can do is show up.
Come on, baby.
Because you don't know
Show
you
up.
don't know what you're facing until you show up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't known you long, man, but I know you to be a real guy and a good man. You know, it's obvious. Your son's sitting right here with you. It's obvious. People around you, the people around you, you got to have good character and stuff like that for when people come around you. But Doc, just show up. Don't matter what the situation is. Don't matter how hard it gets. Show up. You know,
That's the hard part.
when you struggle with people that love you, that bridge is no longer wood and it becomes cemented. So when one of y'all struggle, you all struggle. When you struggle, we struggle. You know what I mean? I know you. I'm a part of you. But I just want to encourage you, Doc, as a father, man, just show up.
Yeah,
You might not always know what to do, and that's okay.
yeah.
But just show up, man. As long as you keep showing up, the better you're going to get at things. The bigger you become, the more you learn. Because, you know, when you have multiple children, all of them personalities are different.
Yeah.
My daughter, I love her to death. She is a blonde by every... She's smart as a whip, but she is a blonde in every sense of the imagination. But she called me. Her biological father called her. Biological dad called her. It upset her to the utmost. And she said, Dad, she said one thing that broke my heart. She said, I just feel like that maybe I had something to do. I said, wait. I said, same thing. Don't you ever feel like another person's choices had something to do with you. Because at the end of the day, we're all grown people. We're all people that want to be responsible. We're all people that want to be great. But brother, I'm also tell you this. If you don't see yourself as great, why somebody else gonna do it? I'll take it back to the street. When you got your pack, got it ready to go. You know what I'm talking about too. Got it ready to go. You had to convince people, especially if nobody knew you on the block. You had to convince people you had
That's
the
right.
best product.
That's right.
Got to.
See, they already sold on you. We already sold on you. Now you got to put that good product back out here to a lot of our younger black people, just like y'all went. A lot of what y'all saying is very good. That information, you got to put that product back out so that our young women understand that they are positive people too.
Yeah.
They can be somebody regardless of where it ain't where you from, is where you at.
Yeah. And where you going?
See, when your mind change, people don't understand. You gotta change people you run around with.
Facts. No cap.
It's, I'm gonna be your friend when I go home to visit. Come on, bro, we getting ready to go blow. I say, when y'all go blow, y'all get with me when y'all get done. Cause see, when I left that stuff alone, I left it behind.
Yeah.
So that's the where we are, man. Just keep showing up, Doc.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Closing. We have generational traumas and historical trauma that can serve us to be greater.
Yeah, because we also have generational and historical resilience.
Resilience.
and it's showing up.
Yes.
Yes.
We got young men here that's, tell them what y'all do, tell them the name of your company.
Yeah.
Put your stuff
I'm
out
gonna let
there.
bro
Yes.
talk.
GLM Investments.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I've been doing it for about 5 months. My brother just got on
About 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So y'all gonna be looking for some clients to invest some money into
Right.
your organization?
Actually, it's not that we get clients. We actually bring people into the business and teach them how to do it. So we create.
20 years old.
It's a each one, teach one business.
Yes.
Man, come on now.
Creating wealth.
Creating
Exactly.
wealth.
That's what's up.
Well, right now I'm just focused on school and academics, and since I do go to early college, I'm just working on that, trying to get my associates in the arts. That way, when I go to college, I'll be a junior, get my 2 years and do.
Until it's time to get your master's.
Look at that. Hey, look, she slid that in on low.
But you missed the look until you get your master.
So now, what music we got coming up next?
Wait a minute, he wanted to say one more
Okay.
word.
Before we close, I wanted at least close out by letting my sons know I appreciate y'all being here. And anything I traumatized y'all with, or I hurt you, or did anything wrong, I want you to know that I'm sorry and I love y'all.
It's real right now.
Thank you for your AV conversation. Thank you for being here, you guys. Where you can see your way in.
Hey, what's up? It's your big head, like no other. Thank you y'all for joining us. Hey, I want to leave y'all with this. They be talking about it takes a village to raise a child. That's not the same. It takes the whole village to raise a child. Right here in UMOJA, Health, Wellness, and Justice Collective. AB Conversation.